What's going on? You are just in time for today's video. And once again, week 2 start sit decisions, my love-hate list. This is my 100% confident, also I might just be guessing, plays of the week. So without wasting time, let's jump right into it. At the quarterback position, one of the quarterbacks that I absolutely love this week is Jayden Daniels. We obviously knew that going into the season, he was going to have that rushing ability and going to have that rushing floor. We wanted to see what he was going to be as a passer, and we wanted to see him just do it in the NFL to let our minds relax and to prove that he could perform at an NFL level. His passing definitely left something to be desired, but we see that he's going to have a floor of a rushing anywhere between 30 and 50 yards on a week-to-week basis, and that's good enough for a low-end RB1. But because of the matchup playing Washington, I think he's going to easily be a top 12 quarterback this year, probably top 5. Speaking of rushing quarterbacks, I want to talk about Justin Fields. I think that this is probably one of his most important games of his career. And I understand that's difficult to say. You know, it's only week 2 of a regular season. He's the backup, but that's just it. He is the backup still. But if he plays well in this game and maybe even next week, it's his job to lose. And I don't think Russell Wilson is going to get that job back. So that being said, I do think he's going to have a great game against his Denver Broncos defense. He has that rushing floor of anywhere between 30 and 50 yards. But we've seen him break off 100-yard rushing games. We've seen him be Lamar Jackson-esque. We've seen him finish as a top 5 quarterback last year based off of rushing for the most part. So I do think he's going to have a good game this week. He has a full week being the starter. Again, last week it was kind of it wasn't game time decision, but it was at the last minute they decided for him to be the starter. He has a full week of prep, and he has a full week to build a game plan around Justin Fields and this offense. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. So you can feel confident starting him in your lineup. At the running back position, I think it's easy to say Jordan Mason is going to be a smash this week against his Vikings defense. We've seen CMC go on IR. It's looking like Mason is going to be the starting running back for at the very least the next 4 games. But I've heard a lot of talk that CMC might get shut down for the season, or at the very least hold off until their bye, which is week 10. So if you got Jordan Mason, good job. And good luck to you. If you have to play against him, I'm so sorry. But this 49er offense has proven that any running back you throw back there is going to be a well-oiled machine. And you can say that it's a system, but at the same time, Jordan Mason is beast mode-like. He is, he does have a little Marshawn Lynch inside of him. We've seen that what he can be at the running back position, and they're going to lean on him just as if they was going to lean on CMC, which is good for Jordan Mason. My other running back start of the week is J.K. Dobbins. And if you want to even get a little spicy, you can put Gus Edwards in. Just as the Saints did last week, this Chargers offense is going to steamroll this Carolina defense. So by the time the second half comes, they're just really going to be running the ball out, trying to get to week 3. That's good for J.K. Dobbins. He had over 130 yards rushing last week, but you have to look at the context. He had 2 big runs. One run was over 60 yards. One run was over 40-some yards. Other than that, he had 8 rushes for about 30 yards. So if he can build off of that and break a couple of big plays against the defense, that's going to be helpful. At the tight position, last week he was on my hate list. This week he's on my love list, and that's Brock Bowers. Again, just like Jayden Daniels, we just wanted to see it happen. We wanted to see how involved he was in the offense. We wanted to see what the game plan was. Week 1, rookie, you're not always going to have the best confidence unless they might be the number 1 pick, or even then, you still just want to see it done at the NFL level. We do see that this offense is going to run through Davante Adams and Brock Bowers. You only had really, I think, 2 or 3 tight ends go over 10 points, so you could do a lot worse than Brock Bowers. But I do think he's going to be heavily involved in this offense. And just like Justin Fields, he wasn't really game planned in week 1 because of injury status. So he has a full week to build into the game plan and to be a part of the game plan at full health. So I do think you can chalk up Brock Bowers for about 5 catches and 50 yards in week 2, and he might even get a touchdown. They're playing against the Ravens, so they're going to have to throw the ball, obviously. So volume is on his side. My other start of the week at the tight end position is Colby Parkinson. He's more of a streaming option, but again, you weren't really happy with your week 1 tight end. So regardless of who you have, if you have if you have a top 5 tight end, you're gonna play those guys: Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts, that nature. But if you have a back end tight end, I think you could do worse than Colby Parkinson. This Rams offense lost Puka Nacua, and we've seen Matthew Stafford. He's going to throw the ball for 30-plus attempts, around 300 yards every single game. Puka Nacua is not going to get 21 targets every single week. That's not the game plan. That's not what they want to do. They want to reserve him for the season. So look at guys like obviously Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, but I think Kobe Parkinson is going to be a smash at the tight end position. Two of the wide receivers that I love this week, I want to talk about Brian Thomas against the Browns. Christian Kirk is not really playing in two wide receiver sets, and Gabe Davis is just not it. He wasn't it with the Bills. He's not with the Jaguars. Brian Thomas is already the number one receiver. He got the touchdown week 1. He didn't have a lot of catches. But I do think he's going to lead the league. He's going to lead this team in targets, and this Browns defense is a pass funnel defense. You can't really run the ball against them. So look for Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball, and they're going to be throwing it to Brian Thomas. My last start of the week at the wide receiver position is going to be either and or Malik Nabers versus Terry McLaurin. Both defenses are complete garbage. Both defenses are going to give up points at the wide receiver position. Look to not only my start of the week at the quarterback position, Jaden Daniels, but look to Terry McLaurin to capitalize on that defense. Same thing with Malik Nabers. He had a rough week 1. This Giants team knows that they have to get the ball to Malik Nabers. Wan'Dale Robinson ended up getting 10 plus targets last week. Look to see that shift to Malik Nabers in week 2. A quarterback that I hate this week is going to be Caleb Williams. Although I like him as a sleeper going forward in the season mainly because of his weapons. Most of those weapons he's not going to have. Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen are both looking to be game time decisions. And at the time of this recording, it might already be put out that they're not going to play. So you're going to have DJ Moore. You're going to have guys like Cole Kmet. You still got DeAndre Swift. But without having this full slate of weapons, he struggled against his Tennessee defense. His Texans defense isn't much worse. So I'm looking to bench Caleb Williams if I'm able to. At the running back position, Kenneth Walker is listed as doubtful at the time of this recording and is probably not going to play. So Zach Charbonnet is going to get the start. So I know what you might think. Okay, good. I have him as my handcuff. I can just slide him right in. Wrong. He's going against the Patriots. They're going to have a tough matchup. And I'm not confident with Zach Charbonnet. He has never been a great runner. So you're going to have to look to him to get passing volume. And I just don't think that against this Patriots defense, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. And I think that they're not going to be able to run the ball against this Patriots defense. So they're going to look to pass the ball. You should be able to find better running backs than Zach Charbonnet in week 2. Also, Javonte Williams. People are going to look to him to give him one more chance in week 2. I'm going to bypass. This Steelers defense does not allow good rushing numbers. You see what happened with Bijan Robinson, and he's a much better running back than Javonte Williams. The way to beat the Steelers defense is let them rush the quarterback and do quick dump-offs. That's more Jaleel McLaughlin, not Javonte Williams. You have Javonte Williams, please bench him in week 2. The tight end position, as much as it pains me to say, I'm not going to play Isaiah Likely. I know a lot of people paid up on him and spent majority of your fab to get him, but that is a season-long decision. Not in week 2. I want to see what he does. Mark Andrews is a lot more healthy in week 2 than he was in week 1. I want to see what their game plan is for week 2 and see if he can recreate it. He's not going to get 30 more points in week 2. I'm not saying he's going to give you 1 to 2 points. He won't skunk you. He won't give you a big 0, but he's not going to give you 30 points in week 2 like he did in week 1. And that's what a lot of people are hoping to see. Let's see what the game plan is with a 2 tight end set. Let's see what he does against this Raiders defense, which again is probably going to be able to run the ball a lot. They're going to score a lot of points. By the second half, they might be up by a lot. They won't have to pass the ball that much. So if you're looking at Ravens to play, that's going to be more Derrick Henry, not so much the backup tight end. And at the receiver position, please do not play Allen Lazard. I understand he got 2 touchdowns in week 1. One was from Aaron Rodgers, and one was from a backup quarterback in garbage time, Tyrod Taylor. People are just going to look at the box score and say, oh, he's the number 1. Wrong. Garrett Wilson is the number 1 receiver. He led the team in targets. He had twice as many targets as Allen Lazard. Lazard ended up getting the touchdowns, unfortunately, so it looks better in his box score, but he is not the wide receiver to own in this offense. You don't want to play any New York Jet other than Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Now, I wouldn't really call him a sneaky play at the quarterback position because of what he did with week 1, but I think a lot of people are going to say that was a fluke, and they're going to end up benching him, which is going to come back to bite them on the butt. I want you to play Baker Mayfield in week 2 against this Lions defense. Just like Matthew Stafford, we saw him go for over 300 yards. This Lions offense is going to pass the ball a lot. This Lions offense is going to score the ball, which means, guess what? The Bucs have to catch up. You can play Baker Mayfield confidently in week 2, and from this point on, he is no longer going to be a streaming option. You're going to realize that you can play Baker Mayfield with confidence every single week, regardless of matchup. A sneaky play at the running back position is, I would say, Devin Singletary. Yes, I know it's ugly. Yes, I know it's gross. But if you really need a flex option, if there's a lot of injuries to, let's say, maybe you had CMC, maybe you had Kenneth Walker, maybe you just need a flex option. I think that you can do worse than Devin Singletary against this Washington defense. At the tight end position, I think that Tucker Kraft is a very sneaky play, but he is a very, very sneaky play, and that's if you really want to get cute. Because they're going to be playing Malik Willis. I'm not really confident of him as a quarterback, so you want to bench really pretty much every single receiving option. I think that at the very least, the tight end position, Tucker Kraft is well above Luke Musgrave in snaps, and he's going to be the lead tight end. He's going to be the guy that Malik Willis looks to get the ball very quickly, middle of the field, big target. So I think that you can play Tucker Kraft with at least a little bit of confidence. And last but not least, at the wide receiver position, you can pick between Josh Palmer or Ladd McConkey, whichever one you feel confident playing in the flex. I think they're a sneaky play at the wide receiver position. Again, this Panthers defense is completely terrible, and by halftime, they're probably just gonna be able to run the ball out and just get into week 3. The Chargers will, but guess what? They have to score points to get to that point. And I think Josh Palmer and or Ladd McConkey is going to have a field day on this Carolina defense. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.